Welcome to another episode of Licensed RPGs. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at Baby Jesus Christ RPG, which is created using RPG Maker VX Ace, and is obviously based off the Bible. Though to be fair as possible, I'll ignore the elephant in the room and merely address the game itself, so without further ado, let's take a look at the plot. Plot-wise, this game covers the birth of Jesus and the flight to Egypt. Because of this, the game is criminally short and clocks in at under 1 hour. And while this may be a problem to some, I'm willing to overlook it because it does cover the events rather accurately, even if it does so using humor and turning the small cast of characters into caricatures. Graphically speaking, the game is rather horrible for a few reasons. The number one reason is the character designs depicted in the cutscenes and combat clash horribly with the tile sets for the world maps and buildings. The second reason is that they look like something thrown together in paint in 5 to 10 minutes. And thirdly, the game blatantly recycles the enemy sprites. In fact, I think half the regular enemies and one of the bosses are the same monster with color palette swaps to make them appear different. So in short, the enemy variety is lacking, and the graphics for the cutscenes and combat are rather poor. And while the person that created them probably does deserve praise for creating original monsters, it doesn't make their art any better, or more in line with the rest of the game. And the sound part of the game is also rather lacking, but this can be overlooked considering its short runtime of under 1 hour. It's hard to imagine a game with such a short playtime having an extremely varied musical score after all. And while the background music itself may be rather forgettable, it isn't irritating to listen to. But it's hard for me to overlook the lack of a volume control. Gameplay-wise, though, the game is a bit on the weak side, not because it deploys turn-based combat, because the difficulty curve is never just right in my opinion. The difficulty in the game ranges from boringly easy to mind-numbingly difficult at times. It never seems to strike the right balance where the game is challenging but not overly easy, or difficult without reason. When it comes to most regular enemies, they are easily dispatched with a single hit, even if you're at the lowest levels in this game, while the bosses tend to be walking health bars that can easily kill your characters even if they're at the maximum level of 10. And therein lies this game's greatest failing in my opinion. The overall length may be easy to overlook, but the constant up and down curving in the combat is impossible to ignore. So on a more positive note, the various healing and recovering items are easy to associate with various miracles found later in the Gospels. Though sadly that's about the only positive I have to offer of the game in terms of gameplay, or combat specifically. In short, Baby Jesus Christ tries to sell itself on its humor, but fails in terms of gameplay. If you think the jokes I showed in this review are funny and are interested in more of the same, I check the game out. Otherwise, I'd probably avoid this game since the combat is in need of some serious ironing out in my opinion.